Welcome to the Dice Tower, a series of video reviews about board and card games. Here are your hosts, Tom Vassell and Sam Healy.
I was showing this game to my daughters, and they were watching me put this up, and they said, why would anybody live underneath a volcano? Why would they keep moving into the city? Were they stupid? And I said, well, it's a good history lesson. Let's look at this. And this is a game about Pompeii. Now, it's interesting because this is a game it's technically called the Downfall of Pompeii. And it's about throwing people into a volcano and this volcano destroying something. Something that if it happened 10 years ago and someone had made a board game about it, people would be booing, poor taste, and I would probably join them. I'd say, I can't believe someone made a game out of that. Yes. But because it happened 2,000 years ago, I don't know. The game, it really isn't a graphic game. You're really not like having little wiggling bodies fall into a volcano. Here, let me show you.
Now, Pompeii is broken up into two halves of a game. You see here you have a big volcano here on one side of the board, and then you have the city here. Now, around this city are different city gates. That's where you're going to be escaping when the volcano erupts. But the volcano doesn't actually erupt at the volcano. It comes from these different lava points, and that's where these different symbols, you can see the coin there and the pottery shard there. And then you also see that there's different houses here. Each of these houses you can see has a number and a color, and then there's a little neutral house that's right next to them that isn't either color at this point in time. Actually, no, that is a color too. That's 8. But this one here is a neutral house, and each of those has spots for people. And that's what you do at the beginning of the game. You are populating the city with people. Now, to do that, players will have 4 cards in their hands from a deck of cards, and each of these cards will have a number on them. And you'll just play that number card when it's your turn, and you will place one of your people in that spot on the board. And so what people are doing is they're placing people. Now, hopefully that there's still room in these houses as people are placing them on the board. Now, at a certain point, the volcano is going to give a warning. And this card will show up in the deck. It's shuffled in a very specific way. And from then on out, these omen cards are going to show up. And when omen cards show up, when you draw one, you will replace that card. But before you do that, you're going to take somebody and you are going to, I don't know if gleefully or sadly, but you will hurl them into the volcano. Also, once these come up, relatives start moving into the city because, hey, there's a volcano brewing, let's all come into the city. What that means is, let's say I play a number 10 card and I'm yellow, and so I put someone in the number 10 house. Well, look, there already is somebody in that house, so that lets me put another person on the board in anything that's the same color, so I can put them over here in 11, or I could put them in a neutral house. That's how you get people in neutral houses. That way, if a house, for example, number 2, has 3 people in it, and I put a guy in there, I'll be able to put 3 other of my people on the board. And so what it does is, by moving in with other people, you will be able to get a lot more folks onto the board quickly. So I'm not going to fill up the whole board here, but the board will be pretty full, and at some point you will draw the second card here, and the volcano erupts, and the first half of the game is over. At this point now, you're going to be running out of the city as fast as you can, because you need to run for lava. So on your turn, you'll do 2 things. First, you will draw a tile from this bag. You look at that tile and you look at the symbol on the tile. Now this one shows a yellow coin. Now what that means is I must place it on this tile here that shows the yellow coin. If that tile is already there and I draw another yellow coin, then I will place that tile next to it on any side of my choice, and if the lava hits anybody, those people are hurled into the volcano. Now, after I place the lava, I can move someone on the board. So let's say I'm the yellow player and I want to move someone. I can move this person here, And there is 4 people in this building, but there's 2 people in the space with her. So this person can move 2 spaces. So 1, 2. If I'm by myself, I can only move 1. The more people in your space, the farther you can move. If you only have 1 person left on the board, well, then they can move twice. But otherwise, you have to move 2 different people. So you place a tile on the board. So here I draw the pottery shard, which for the first one goes right here. But as you can see, lava is going to be moving across the board in quick patterns. And it's going to be cutting off the exits to some of the gates. So then you might have to turn around and run for the other gates. But the simple fact of the matter is, you're never going to have enough time to get where you want, because the lava is just going to keep coming out, and other players are going to place it in such a way that it will block the gates for you, or if, even worse, run over you. So players have all this going on, and the lava is moving around the board, and eventually the lava will block off all the gates and or kill everyone in the city, or everyone will have escaped, or all the lava tiles will be placed out. But usually everybody at that point is dead. When that happens, players are going to compare the number of people that have gotten out of the city, and whoever has the most people who've escaped the city, when you start running from the volcano, you've won. If there's a tie for that, at that point then, we will take the volcano, which by the way is a nice plastic piece that wraps around and fits in the board, and whoever has the fewest people in the volcano of those tied people is the winner, which here you can see blue and yellow each only had 1 person in the volcano, while red and black did not fare so well. So that's how you play the game. There aren't very many games that are like this, where they're kind of broken into half, where the first half is a build up and the second half is a breakdown. That's kind of what this is. You're putting people in the city, which, do you think that's, I mean, it's an important part of the game, but it's kind of ho-hum.
Yeah, it is.
You're like, put out some guys. Oh, I get to play this card. Lets me put out more guys. Oh, I get to put out extra guys. And eventually the volcano starts up and you're like, all right.
Pack your bags!
Now the game begins. And then it's just a running thing. And that's it. The running thing is neat. I'm not sure why having more people in the area makes you run faster. I would assume it's the other way around.
It's a mob mentality. No, mob mentality works. Adrenaline hits and you're boot scooting.
But you can do different things like move your guy into a group of people so next turn he can move even farther. And it is interesting. Who do you get out of? Do you move the guys who are closer to the gates first because you can guarantee they're going to get out? Or do you move the guys farther away so that they actually have a chance? And what do you do with the lava? Do you kill people?
Yes.
The first people you see, or do you try to make the lava flow in a direction that surrounds as many people as possible to take everybody out? Or do you float away from your own people deliberately? I'm making this game sound...
All of the above.
I'm making this game sound uber strategic.
It's not.
Yeah. It's a fairly light game. There's some strategy. Well, I wouldn't even say strategy. There's some tactics in the game. What do you do now?
Right.
But I think it's a fun game despite all that.
Yeah. It does have somewhat of a grisly theme to it, but it's really just kind of like a race game. Set your people up, and then it's a race to see who can get out of the city first. I don't know. I don't think this is any more... I mean, if you really look into the deep mechanics of the theme, it could be more grisly, but I don't think it's any more grisly than Pamplona or those other bull racing things.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, if it was just running out of the city, but at the same time you're like laughing as you throw the people in the volcano.
True.
But that's more of a silly thing than any...
I'm laughing every time somebody gets a bullhorn up their rear end. So, I mean, it's... What's the difference? I don't think there is. But
okay.
I mean, I really think it's simply a racing game that you need to look at as a racing game.
But do you like it, isn't it?
Yes. Yes, it is. It is something that we have fun with, and yes, we do cackle, evil, maniacal cackles when we drop people into the inferno. But again, it's all in good fun.
Alrighty. Well, if you're interested in a game that your whole family will like, this is one that I would very much do it. I'll give this two smoking thumbs of lava, hot lava death up. I enjoy it quite a bit. It's certainly one I have kept in my collection for many years, and I would say that when people think of Klaus-Jürgen Rade, they think of him as the designer of Carcassonne. But this is one of his great games, too. Mm-hmm. It really is. And I don't think it's got enough press lately, and it should, because it is a lot of fun.
I people like Carcassonne because it's very, very simple, and it's
Right.
very, very light, and it's very, very enjoyable. I would say that this is slightly more complex than Carcassonne, but
maybe.
not really. If you can stomach Carcassonne, you should be able to handle this one easily. So, if you like Carcassonne, and if you like that dude he was talking about with the really long name that he probably rehearsed
No.
the name before we started this,
Okay, well, anyhow, what are you giving it thumb-wise?
I'm going to give this 2 lava fingers up because it has legs. It's still, I would still enjoy playing this today. So, go out and pick it up.
Pompeii!
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find the latest board game news at Dicetowernews.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Fun Again Games, the world's best game source. Fun Again Games has over 5,000 games available. Check them out at funagain.com.